All right, so going to be doing another comic review, another book sent to me by my friend Chris. Thank you as always, brother. And today we're going to be talking about Spider-Man and Wolverine, the Janus Directory. So this was a ongoing series that really is one of those comics that feels like it was meant to be a mini series, and then it just became like a much bigger comic. So yeah, anyway, so Spider-Man and Wolverine is just clearly meant to be like Marvel's fun, world's finest book that to counter Superman and Batman. It's their two most popular superheroes together. What do you expect? So Spider-Man and Wolverine um, is written by Mark Guggenheim with artwork by Career Andrews. And I have to be honest, I wasn't expecting my expectations for this comic were, shall we say, low. Guggenheim has never once shocked me as a writer. Like, he's never been a great writer. There's stuff that I've at best thought was okay. And Career Andrews, his artwork is very like it's very of its time, and it's very but gotta be honest, it's kind of nice. It's it knows what this comic knows what it wants to be. So you got to keep your expectations low for a book about these two. You're not expecting high end art when it comes to Guggenheim and Andrews. Um, this comic, if it was, this feels like it was written right out of the '90s. I swear to God. Anyway, so the story for this first arc is that Wolverine has been contacted by an old friend and reveals that, hey, the Janus directory is real. The Janus directory is basically a data log of every double agent known to man, and guess who's on there? Logan. So Logan has also discovered something big that connects him to Peter Parker. So he and Spider-Man team up and go to look for the Janus directory, only to discover Omega Red and Kraven waiting for them. And that during this whole thing, that also has Mysterio involved. What happens is that Peter makes a startling discovery that Logan may have had a hand in murdering his parents. So it goes from there is that the two of them have to like figure out who's behind this. It's a new villain. And again, this book really feels '90s, if I'm being honest. And the two of them have to team up to figure out what's going on of this whole thing with the Janus directory and also the person who's trying to set Logan and Peter against each other. This comic is nothing like special. And I don't think it needs to be. I don't like in the echelon of all these great Marvel books. This is definitely a book of them, but it's just kind of refreshing to see the bar is so low for Peter Parker comics that I took this. Like the bar is so incredibly low for Spider-Man comics at this point that I quite literally was like, yeah, I. I was like, I'll take it. And Career Andrews, his artwork isn't what I would consider like grade A work, but stuff like this makes you realize, oh, I see what we're trying to do here. You can really feel like that Guggenheim was really invoking like a lot of like '90s action and '90s storytelling, because this book really does feel like, give or take a few update stuff, it really does feel like it's of a bygone era. There is a great fight between almost said Clark, Logan and Peter, that is a whole issue of just them fighting, and it's really solid. I also really do like just the back and forth that Peter believing that Logan killed his parents, that he has to like deal with that. He has to like, come to terms that maybe his parents were murdered and by Logan this whole time. And even Logan is like, look, dude, there are still parts of my memory that are low, but we can't trust it. Like whoever behind this, the villain behind all this is a villain named Dread Shadow, and his villain backstory is generic and also like may have not have happened. We also get Peter Parker's alleged sister Teresa in here. And I think they're just like no one cared. So Guggenheim was like, I'm just going to write her out of this story. And whoever wants to use her, sure. But yeah. So the comic also ends in a way that I was like, I feel like it was better if the whole thing was a little more ambiguous. and made Logan and Peter's relationship a little more strained. But how it's written is like, well, I knew they were probably going to do that. But I did like the idea that maybe Logan did have a hand in murdering his parents. But they don't. They do say, yeah, it was this guy called the Finisher. That's the actual villain's name, who, or under the orders of Red Skull, or rather a Red Skull, because it was okay. So Peter's parents were murdered by a Russian guy who took on the mantle of Red Skull. Yeah, it's the whole thing, and they keep trying to change this is nothing different. So in a way, I guess like maybe doing another retcon of a retcon of a retcon, it works. It's a nice book. It's just here for the story. The plot is pretty loose, and if you just want to see Spider-Man and Wolverine fight their respective enemies together, and not worry about like Peter being tarnished in another book, yeah, is this book good? It's good in the sense that like it knows what it wants to be. That's what I will say, is that this book knows exactly what it is. It knows what you're here for, to see Logan and Peter fight their bad guys, and also have a dumb adventure along the way, and that's it. So I can't fault it for being what it is. I can't fault this comic for just wanting to be a fun comic. And shocker, sometimes comics are allowed to be fun. Not every book needs to be Watchmen. I think we all forget that sometimes, is that not every book needs to be absolute Batman. Not every book needs to be Watchmen. Sometimes comics just need to be Spider-Man and Wolverine. So on that ground, I liked it. I would not mind reading the second volume of this. I don't know if this comic is still going, but how it basically was set up, it really does feel like Guggenheim and Andrews were just like, yeah, this is meant to be a miniseries, but I guess it's sold enough to do like a second volume. I don't know how long this comic is, but sure. I wouldn't be opposed to another volume of this. Finally, a Mark Guggenheim comic where I'm just like, you should have Guggened out of here, dude. That joke sounded way better in my head, I swear. Anyway, so yeah, Chris, thank you once again for this comic. And yeah, if you have read Spider-Man and Wolverine, the Janus Directory, let me know in the comments below what you guys think of it. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.